Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
A number of WWE superstars were recently let go from the company. A new report has now shed light on Triple H's role behind these releases. On May 2nd, several individuals, including Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, and Shayna Baszler, were fired from the main roster of either Raw or SmackDown. The stars from NXT who were released were Jakara Jackson, Riley Osborne, Gigi Dolan, Wolfgang, Cora Jade, Mark Coffey, and Joe Coffey. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WON, Dave Meltzer reported that WWE sources indicated that NXT talent releases stemmed from concerns about laziness, insufficient improvement, injury proneness, or inability to resonate with the fans. The report also noted that Triple H made the final call regarding these shocking departures. It's unclear if the game's decisions were driven by a set number or a financial target. Veteran criticizes Triple H over recent WWE releases. Wrestling veteran Stevie Richards recently shared his thoughts on talents getting fired from the Stamford-based promotion just days after WrestleMania 41. He discussed this on an episode of The Stevie Richards Show. The former WWE star slammed Triple H and asserted that blaming wrestlers was nonsensical and that writers should be held accountable for poor creative. Richards further contended that the company's approach to training, where injury was a risk, was flawed compared to the demands of actual performance. "You got people you're talking about lazy in training. The point of the business is not to bump yourself out while training, maybe when you're working. No, the company's at fault, and I hate the fact this is just as bad as creative has nothing for you. Then fire the damn writer, don't fire the wrestler. It's crazy," he said. The future landscape of WWE's roster is uncertain given recent releases, and only time will tell how many new wrestlers will debut. The lights in the WWE corporate offices were unusually dim that night, casting long shadows on the walls adorned with championship memorabilia and legendary portraits. Something was brewing in Stamford, something seismic. Triple H, known to the world as The Game, sat behind his desk, fingers interlocked, eyes locked onto a confidential list in front of him. His usual confidence was dampened by the gravity of the task at hand. He had been entrusted with steering WWE into a new era, but evolution always came with casualties. Earlier that day, the WWE universe was rocked when news of several shocking firings broke across social media. Beloved superstars, rising talents, and even backstage producers were let go in a wave of sudden releases that left fans stunned and speculation swirling. Names like Ricochet, Chad Gable, Dana Brooke, and even a Hall of Fame producer surfaced on the cut list. The rumor mills spun wildly. Was it budget cuts? Was it a corporate merger fallout? Or was there a deeper story? Backstage sources hinted at one name behind the decisions, Triple H. But what no one knew was the truth behind those firings, and the burden Triple H carried as he executed a plan that could either revitalize the WWE product or haunt him for years to come. The vision beyond the firings. Hunter Hearst Helmsley wasn't just focused on short-term headlines. Since Vince McMahon's retreat from power and the acquisition deals with TKO Group Holdings, WWE had entered a new phase. But Triple H wasn't about to let legacy go stale. He envisioned a global empire, with an agile, story-first product that rivaled anything in sports entertainment history. That meant restructuring. That meant sacrifice. The truth was, many of the recently released superstars weren't let go due to performance, they were casualties of a creative overhaul. Triple H, now in full control of WWE creative, needed to trim the roster not for money, but for direction. He wanted depth, not excess. Consistency, not chaos. And most of all, he wanted hunger. Internal conflict and the one he didn't want to fire. Among the list of names was one that had personally tormented him, Dolph Ziggler. Hunter knew Ziggler's passion, his versatility, his long tenure of putting others over and still delivering five-star matches. He had once envisioned Dolph leading a veteran faction in NXT Europe's upcoming launch. But reports came in that Ziggler had grown creatively frustrated. He had turned down 3 pitches. He wasn't feeling the product anymore. Triple H had reached out personally. "I want you to be part of something new," he had said. Ziggler had replied with a cold chuckle. "Paul, I've been part of new for 15 years. Every time you need someone to shine, I'm the one getting pinned." That stung. That night, the name stayed on the list. Triple H drew a deep breath and typed the final approval into the system. The new order. Behind the curtain, the cuts weren't about ending careers. It was a tactical reset. Triple H had been building something in the shadows, a new global brand extension. With NXT Japan and NXT Mexico in the works, he needed room to breathe. He wanted new stars from across the globe. Talent exchanges with international promotions were being quietly negotiated. Moreover, WWE was investing in storytelling units, small writer-performer teams assigned to just 3 or 4 stars at a time, to give deeper, character-driven arcs. The days of 30 superstars scrambling for airtime were over. Triple H had identified 10 underused performers, now released, who would thrive elsewhere, only to potentially return as bigger stars. He wasn't ending their WWE journey. He was planting seeds for their reinvention. Backlash and fallout. The backlash came quickly. Social media erupted. Fans cried foul. Triple H is no better than Vince. One user posted. What happened to loyalty? Another asked. Internally, even some executives at TKO were nervous. This might look bad, Paul, one said. Triple H, unfazed, called an emergency talent meeting at the Performance Center. Standing before a room of nervous superstars, he was honest. I know this week has been hard, he said. Some of your friends are gone. Some of you might wonder if you're next. But let me be clear, this isn't the end of something. It's the beginning. He outlined his vision, more meaningful feuds, less filler, and international crossovers. He promised more cinematic storytelling and long-term creative payoffs. Then he delivered the line that stuck with everyone. I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to change the game, again. An unexpected twist, the whistleblower? But just when Triple H thought he had weathered the storm, a twist emerged. A former WWE writer leaked a private email exchange between Triple H and a controversial executive. The email showed Hunter had recommended cutting a popular tag team despite positive crowd reactions, because they don't fit the long-term direction. Fans speculated, was the direction an edgier, UFC-style presentation? Were the firings a way to make room for cross-promotion with other combat sports stars? The tag team, revealed to be Alpha Academy, became symbols of discontent. Chad Gable issued a cryptic post, when one door closes, I'll suplex the next one open. The tweet went viral. The long game. Triple H knew the noise wouldn't go away overnight. But he didn't waver. He signed a hush-hush deal with a major Japanese talent. He arranged for a surprise debut of 2 released superstars at a partner promotion, sending a clear message: WWE wasn't burning bridges. They were building roads. And then, at the Royal Rumble, he planned to change the conversation altogether. A returning Ziggler. A surprise tag team reunion. And a bold new direction revealed by the man himself, Live in the Ring. Sometimes, Triple H said in a production meeting, you have to break something to build something better. Conclusion. Triple H's role in the shocking WWE firings was far more than a ruthless culling. It was the cold, calculated move of a visionary who saw beyond the current horizon. He didn't fire people to save money. He did it to save WWE's soul. And while the critics raged and the headlines questioned his heart, only time would reveal whether the game had once again played it better than anyone else. Major update on Triple H's backstage perception in WWE. There has been an interesting update on how Triple H is regarded backstage in WWE. The veteran was inducted into the company's Hall of Fame during WrestleMania 41 weekend and currently serves as the Chief Content Officer for the promotion. During a Q&A with Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select, a wrestling fan asked what the perception was of Triple H as a booker. Sapp shared that most WWE stars still like the 55-year-old, and he is much more accessible to talent than Vince McMahon was. However, it was noted that many stars no longer buy the be patient sentiment regarding storylines, especially following the recent wave of releases by the company. Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, and more stars were released by WWE earlier this month. Former WWE writer compares Triple H to Vince McMahon. Vince Russo recently compared Triple H and Vince McMahon in terms of the way they conducted business. Russo used to work for McMahon and recently discussed the differences between the two leadership regimes. Speaking on Sports Key to Wrestling's Writing with Russo show, Russo stated that he preferred Vince McMahon's way of doing things. He suggested that Triple H had created a country club atmosphere in the company and credited McMahon for teaching him about hard work. All the things I read today, man, it just sounds like a country club, Russo said. I'll be honest, Chris, I'd rather have Vince's way than a country club because Vince really taught me work ethic. Chris, when I tell you every day I went to work early and left late, and no matter how early I got there or how late I left, his freaking car was there. Without that discipline, I probably wouldn't be able to do this, run a podcasting business, today. 8:52 to 9:28. The company is getting set for WWE Backlash 2025 this Saturday at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Only time will tell if the King of Kings has any surprises in store for fans at the PLE this weekend. As the bright lights dimmed following another thunderous episode of Monday Night Raw, whispers backstage grew louder. WWE's creative heartbeat, Paul "Triple H" Levesque, once heralded as the savior of a new era, now found himself at the center of a swirling storm of mixed emotions among talent, producers, and executives. What was once unwavering reverence for the game had become a complex cocktail of respect, frustration, admiration, and cautious hope. According to multiple sources within the company, Triple H's backstage perception has undergone a dramatic evolution in recent months, and it's not all smooth sailing. The rise of the visionary. When Triple H took over the creative reins of WWE following Vince McMahon's brief retirement in 2022, a sense of excitement electrified the locker room. Gone were the last-minute script changes. Talent were encouraged to pitch ideas. NXT standouts like Johnny Gargano, Louisiana Knight, and Tommaso Ciampa finally felt they had a fighting chance on the main roster. Hunter brought a fresh vibe, one mid-card Raw talent shared anonymously. It felt like we were all part of building something new. He listened. He actually listened. This collaborative culture made Triple H not just a boss, but a trusted leader. Many compared his approach to that of a player-coach. He had been in the trenches. He knew what a 15-minute promo segment or a Hell in a Cell match did to your body and your mind. Talent, particularly veterans and NXT alums, felt empowered. The corporate pressure cooker. However, 2024 brought new challenges. WWE's sale to Endeavor and the formation of TKO Group Holdings brought a tighter corporate leash. With new executives keeping a close eye on budgets, ratings, and fan engagement metrics, the once creative sandbox began to feel a bit more restricted. Insiders note that Triple H has recently been more guarded in meetings, carefully balancing the desires of the locker room with the demands of stakeholders. He's stuck in the middle, a WWE producer revealed. He wants to give fans long-term storytelling, but now he's got people breathing down his neck every quarter about engagement spikes and network impressions. This tension has caused a shift in how he's perceived. Some superstars, particularly those lower on the card, feel like they've been lost in the shuffle again, despite early promises. Creative favorites and locker room discontent. Another emerging narrative backstage is the perception of favorites returning to the spotlight. While stars like Gunther, Sami Zayn, and Damian Priest have been heavily featured, rightfully so, many argue, some feel that newer or underused talent are being overlooked. There's a rotation now, and if you're not in it, it's tough to break in, one SmackDown star remarked. It's not Vince-level playing favorites, but we're definitely seeing patterns. A few names repeatedly brought up in this conversation include Bronson Reed, Shayna Baszler, and Apollo Crews, talents believed to have immense potential but who have been hovering in creative limbo. These locker room whispers have started to plant seeds of frustration, especially among those not brought up under Triple H's NXT system. There's a belief that if you weren't his guy, it's an uphill battle, another source added. The Roman dilemma. Perhaps the biggest challenge to Triple H's backstage perception has been his handling of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline storyline. While the angle has been hailed as one of the greatest in WWE history, some feel the saga's extended timeline has come at the expense of other main eventers. There's no denying the Bloodline story was epic, a veteran WWE official stated. But it consumed everything. It bottlenecked the title picture. It slowed down others' momentum. Triple H reportedly pushed hard to keep the storyline nuanced and slow-burning, especially during Reigns' part-time appearances. But internally, several talents felt paralyzed, stuck waiting for the Bloodline era to end before any real upward mobility could happen. With new factions like Judgment Day and LWO also taking center stage, there's concern that the main event scene is becoming overcrowded and top-heavy, something once blamed solely on Vince. Renewed respect through accountability. Despite the criticism, one thing remains constant, the overwhelming respect Triple H commands when it comes to transparency. Sources note that unlike previous regimes, Triple H is honest, even if the news isn't what you want to hear. If you ask him where your story's going, he'll tell you straight, A raw talent noted. No sugarcoating. That earns respect. In fact, several talents say his willingness to accept responsibility is a rarity in the business. During a recent closed-door meeting after a string of underwhelming crowd reactions and viewership dips, Triple H reportedly addressed the locker room directly, shouldering the blame. He told us, "This is on me. If something's not connecting, I need to adjust," the talent recalled. You don't hear that often from someone that high up. The future of the Games era. As 2025 unfolds, Triple H's path is filled with both pressure and possibility. New signings like Julia, Braun Breaker, and Jade Cargill are being carefully positioned to ignite the next chapter of WWE. Internally, the hope is that a fresh creative cycle beginning at SummerSlam could reset momentum and re-energize backstage morale. He still has the respect, a veteran agent concluded. But now people are watching closely. It's no longer just about bringing back old stars or pushing NXT call-ups. It's about building a true post-Vince identity, and that's not easy. Triple H remains a pivotal figure, revered for his wrestling mind and leadership, but he's now navigating the same criticisms and creative scrutiny that once dogged his predecessor. The honeymoon period is over. The game is deep into overtime, and the final score hasn't been decided yet. Would you like a similar piece on Shawn Michaels' perception in NXT or Nick Khan's role behind the scenes?